And we're going to be solving systems of equations using elimination. Eliminate, what does eliminate mean? Can someone give me? To get rid of, right? It's like when you are in, let's say you're with your team, your sports team. Let's say it's your, let's say you're on your cheer team, okay? So you're in a tournament. You want to eliminate your opponent because by doing the best you can so that you go on to the finals. You're competing, right? You want to eliminate them. Or whatever sports team you're in, okay? So what we're doing today relates to what we did with lines. Remember this from the first day. Okay. Turn to your neighbor. These are two systems of equations, okay? Turn to your neighbor, describe how would you find the answer to each of these two graphs. What's the answer, okay? Help your neighbor remember. Figure it out. Ready, set, go. Okay, so how do we figure out the answer to any of these graphs? What do you need to do? No, not rise over run. That's just how you graph the slope. How do you find the answer? Remember, this was the first day of school in my class. How do you find the answer? It's what? You said it. What is it? Say it. It's the intersecting points, right? It's where the lines cross. Where the lines cross, that's where the answer is. What's the solution? Right here. What's the answer to the solution here? 2, -2. What's the answer to the solution there? -1, 4. -1, 4. Good. Okay, so turn to your neighbor. Explain, how do you find the solution to a system of equations? Go. Marky, turn to your neighbor. Explain. There you go. Good. You got a new neighbor. Okay, so it's where the lines intersect, okay? So this is great if you could draw neatly, or if you have a graphing calculator, you could do this with any problem, okay? It'll graph it and you could find this point, okay? We're going to talk about that later, but sometimes you're not allowed to use the graphing calculator. You have to use a different method. Today we're going to use the elimination method, okay? So we're going to use this concept, but we're not going to be graphing, because sometimes graphing by hand is messy and sometimes you don't get the right answer, okay? So these are the steps for today. You already wrote them down in my class. If you're on the video, you should pause it. Okay, and I'm going to do a couple of problems for you, so just watch right now. So, number 1 and 2. Just watch right now, pencils down. Okay, so on number 1, we got negative 3x plus y is equal to 8, and negative x minus y is equal to 8. So, the first thing I always want to do is figure out what are we supposed to be. The directions are going to say solve the system by elimination. So, since there's two equations, I like organizing my work, so I like naming my equation. I'm going to take this first equation and call it equation 1, and the second equation and call it equation 2, and I'm going to write that down. I just put a little 1 and a little 2 and circle it. That's all I'm doing, okay? That way I know what the equations are. Then I'm going to take parentheses around the second equation, like so, and we're going to put a line under it. And then I want to identify what the coefficients are. We have a negative 3 here. In front of this x is a negative sign, but it's really like saying negative 1. Should I put a negative 1 there? Oh. And this is negative 1 also, and that's a positive 1. Okay? I'm trying to find within the x's I want to have the same variable. Okay, so we have negative 3x and we have negative 1x. These are not really the same number. It's not the same absolute value, so I can't really eliminate these. But this 1y and negative 1y, these are the same number. I could combine the y's together and they would eliminate it, okay? So I have to ask myself, what would I need to do to the second equation to get rid of the y's? Well, if I put an addition sign out here, okay? I have to ask myself, what's 1y plus negative 1y? What's 1 plus negative 1? 0, right? 0 is when I eliminate it. So I'm using the correct operation. I can either use a positive or negative sign here. So we're going to combine it. Negative 3x plus negative 1x is negative 4x. Okay? Then we got 1y plus negative 1y is, it cancels out. It's eliminated, 0y. Then we have 8 plus 8 is equal to 16. Okay? I've just eliminated the y's. Now I'm going to solve for the x's using StatMap. We got negative 4x is equal to 16. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. Okay, so we got x is equal to negative 4, and that's my first answer. Okay, and what does this mean, x is equal to negative 4? Well, remember, where is the solution? Where are the lines what, everyone? Cross, right? So it's a coordinate. So it's like I have to have an ordered pair, right? So this negative 4 really goes to my ordered pair here, right? But how do I figure out the y now? Let me show you. You're going to take this x and we're going to plug it into one of the two equations. I'm going to pick equation 1. It doesn't matter which one you pick. And I'm going to rewrite it. And instead of x, I'm going to replace it with negative 4. So we got negative 3x. So it's going to be negative 3 times negative 4 plus 1y, or just y, is equal to 8. Okay? Then I start simplifying. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. And we have an 8 here. We're going to subtract 12 on both sides. So y is equal to negative 4. I'm going to take this as my answer and put it back up here. And that's it. Our ordered pair where the lines cross is at negative 4, negative 4. Does that make sense? Okay. Did I graph anything just now? No. So this is the method you would use. It's called by elimination when you don't want to graph. So what did I just do? Again, I lined up the variables of each equation. So we have the x's, the y's, and the constants here. Then I named each the equations with numbers. I put 1 and 2 here. You see? 1 and 2. Then I picked a variable to eliminate by adding or subtracting. I had to pick one. Could I eliminate the x's? No, because they're different numbers. You see how this is 3 and this is a 1? So they're different absolute value. Over here we have 1 and negative 1. These are different, but they're the same number. If I combine them together, they become 0. It eliminates. Okay? Then I solve for the remaining variable. Or I solve for the variable. I get x is equal to negative 4. I put it back in here. Then step 4, I solve for the remaining variable by plugging it back in. Put negative 4 in for x. I took equation 1. Negative 3 times negative 4 plus y is equal to 8. So we got 12 plus y is equal to 8. And we figure out y is equal to negative 4. Okay? And then I write the final answer as an ordered pair. Okay? Which is right up here. Okay? Make sense so far? Let me just do one more for you so you can see it. Number 2, we got negative 5x plus y is equal to 1. 5x minus 5y is equal to 15. Step 1, I'm going to line up the variables of each equation. These are all lined up today, but in future problems, like starting tomorrow, we won't have them always perfectly lined up. Then we're going to name equations with numbers. So the first equation I'm going to call equation 1, second equation, equation 2. So we've got negative 5x plus y is equal to 1. 5x minus 5y is equal to 15. I'm going to draw parentheses. Okay. Then I'm going to pick the variable I want to eliminate. The x's, they're lined up. We have negative 5x and 5x. Can I eliminate the x's here? Yeah. What operation can I use? Well, let's try with addition first. Okay. You put a plus sign. Negative 5x plus 5x is 0x. It would cancel it out. Okay. If it didn't work, I would have to use a subtraction sign. Then we got y plus negative 5y is going to be negative 4y. 1 plus 15 is 16. Divide both sides by 4. You get y is equal to negative 4. Okay? So that's going to go in my ordered pair for the y. So I'm going to write down my ordered pair right now as negative 4 right here. Then I'm going to bring down an equation. I'll pick equation 1 again. It doesn't matter. Instead of y, I'm going to put a negative 4 in. So we got negative 5x plus y, which is negative 4, is equal to 1. We know a positive and negative is really like saying negative. So we got negative 5x minus 4 is equal to 1. Add 4 to both sides. We get negative 5x plus 5. Or negative 5x is equal to 5. Divide both sides by 5. So x is equal to negative 1. And I bring that up here as my answer here. Okay? Which way is easier, graphing or this way? Well, right now graphing is easier because you're good at it, but this way will be easier. Does it matter which way you do it? No, you should get the same answer if you graph this or if you did this method. But you need to know both methods. That's why you have to learn this, okay? All right, so let's have you get to know your new partners. Let's have 1s tell the 2s about number 1, and then 2s tell the 1s about number 2. Ready, set, talk. Okay, so you have your whiteboards out in front of you. The iPads are charging, so we're not using iPads today. Here we go. Let's do number 3 together. We're doing number 3 together. So please write this down, number 3 together. Some of you don't have whiteboards, come up here to the front. There's some whiteboards here. Yeah, whiteboards. Let's go. Because the iPads are charging.
I have a marker.
Oh. Okay, go to the basket and get a marker. Okay, write down number 3. Let's go. So you got 4x or negative 4x minus 3y is equal to negative 5. X plus 3y is equal to negative 1. Okay, we're doing this one together, so you're working alongside with me. Don't erase it until I ask you to erase everything, okay? Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to name the equation. So let's put a little 1 by the first equation like that and a little 2 by the second equation like that. Okay? Then the next thing you want to do is you want to ask yourself, are the equations lined up? Are they all lined up? Are the x's, y's, and the constants lined up? Sometimes they're not, so you would have to work that out. So since it's lined up, let's put parentheses around equation 2 like this and then put a line underneath. Can you do that for me, please? Everyone's working this out? Whiteboards. Okay, well then ask for one. Yeah, there you go. Yes. Okay. Ready? Catch. Okay. So what variable do we want to eliminate? The x's or the y's?
The y.
The y's. Why?
Because there's the same number of them.
Good, exactly. They're the same number. We got negative 3y and then we got positive 3y. Okay, so turn to your neighbor. Explain what operation would you put out here? An addition or a subtraction sign?
Subtraction. No, addition.
Okay, turn to your neighbor. Explain. Let's figure it out. Go.
Subdivision.
Okay, which one are we going to put?
None of them.
Let's try addition. When you don't know, this is how you do it. Look up here. Let's try. Start with addition always. What's negative 3 plus 3?
Oh, that's 0.
0, right? Does that eliminate it? Yeah, so we use the correct one. So we keep addition here. So I'm using addition out here. So we got negative 4x plus x is?
Negative 3x.
Negative 3x. Okay, good. And then we got negative 5 plus negative 1 is?
Oh, negative 6.
Good, okay. How do we solve for x here now?
Divide by 3.
Divide by negative 3. Just follow along with me. Okay. So we got x is equal to positive 2. Okay? Any questions so far? Or this is the value for the coordinate. So we're going to put 2 on the side, okay? Because that's where it is, 2. You see? All right. How do we get the second one? We're going to plug it back in. Which equation do you want to plug it back into?
The first one, or whichever one you want.
It's whichever one we want. Let's do the second one just for the sake of trying something new, okay? So we got x, and instead of x, I'm going to replace it with 2, okay? So we're going to put 2 here, plus 3y is equal to negative 1, okay? So we have 2 here. We want to combine like terms, so I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. We got 3y is equal to negative 3, so y is equal to negative 1, okay? Then we put this at the top like so, okay? Any questions on number 3? Okay, let me see your whiteboards. I want to make sure you're working alongside with me, so let me see that you got the same answer as me. Okay, so number 4. Yep, number 4, I think you could do it by yourself. Go on this one, we should have subtracted the x's, so that eliminates it. Negative 3y minus 2y is going to be negative 5y. What's 15 minus a negative 10? Nope.
Oh.
Positive 25. Simple adding, right, and subtracting. You guys still making mistakes there. I'm telling you, you gotta work that out. What's 15 minus negative 10 again? 25. Okay. Then we divide both sides by negative 5. So y is equal to negative 5. That's the first part. How do we find the x's now?
You substitute the line for one of those.
We plug it back in, right? So we're gonna put x minus 3 times y, or y is negative 5, which is equal to 15. Okay? Negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. So we got x plus 15 is equal to 15. Subtract 15 on both sides. What's x equal to? So our coordinate or ordered pair should be 0, -5. That's your answer. Okay, some of you put 1. Does anyone have questions on this? Yeah. Where?
The first part. Yeah, I did -1y equals 5.
It gets, shh, I can't hear the question. Negative what? Right here?
I did -1y equals 5.
Well, what's -3 minus +2? Yeah, you have to, that's why it's in parentheses. What's -3 minus +2, everyone? -5. Does that make sense? That's a really good question. You have to use that negative sign outside. You have to be very careful with it. Yes?
How do you know when to use do you know when to add or subtract outside?
You have to ask yourself, what if I put a plus sign right here? I wanted to focus on the x's. What's x? What if this was a plus, okay? So, let's make that a plus. What's x plus x? What?
2x.
2x. Does that eliminate it?
No.
No. So then now we have to try subtraction. What's x minus x? 0.
Okay.
That's a good question. How do you know which one to use? You have to try each one. Once you get good at it, you're going to go quickly through it, okay? Okay? Who would still be sleeping right now at home? Break. Wow, already still?
Would you be sleeping?
No.
It's because I would play PS4 too. That's why.
Yeah.
Hey, see?
Who played PS4 until 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yep.
Okay. Alright, that concludes the lesson.